Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. Check this out. On this episode, what I want to talk about is 12 dope things that I did in 2023. I think this is like the third year that I've done this. It's kind of like my yearly wrap up, if you will. 2023, I'll be honest, flew by. It was a good year. I think it's safe to say it was a good year for all of us because we got a chance to see it. And so we're blessed in that aspect. There were some rough spots. There were some good spots. It just, the year, honestly, for me, just really kind of came and went. It was almost like January arrived and there was so much optimism and, hopes about what 2023 would look like. And then I blinked and we're pulling up in December. So I'm like, well, damn, where did the time go? Right. So, it was, like I said, it was an interesting year, but what I wanted to do in this episode was just kind of give you a synopsis, just highlight a couple of things, that your boy did that I deemed was dope. I personally think I live a dope lifestyle. I don't do anything spectacular, but a few things that I do, I do okay. One of the first things, and these are these actually are in chronological order. So let's go back to February. February, I had a podcast meetup. I spent quite a bit of the year in Houston, got a spot out there, and Houston's a dope city, and I love Houston. And so back in February, got a chance to meet up with two of my fellow favorite podcasters, the big homie, the one and only D Murph from the Why Not Sports podcast, and the Flagrant 2 podcast. You guys have seen me on his podcast before, and you've heard him on here as well, and he's going to be back again in 2024. But the big homie D Murph, man, got a chance to meet up with him and another fellow podcaster who I'm a big fan of. She's big time. She's just big time. You've heard on here before. You've heard on me on her podcast, Jay Boog, from the Jay's Quick 3 podcast. What we decided to do was Murph lives in Houston. I was in Houston, and Jay lives in the Austin area, which I think is like 2 hours away. But we decided to meet up, man, and meet up at Top Golf and get a few rounds in or whatever, man. And it was really, really dope. I had done quite a few episodes with Jay and never met her. And Jay Boog is as cool as you think she is on her podcast. She's just as cool in real life. And the same for Murph, man. Me and Murph had hung out before, but that was a chance for her. And I want to say Jay and Murph had hung out before too. So I had never hung out with Jay, but I'd hung out with Murph in Houston. And it was dope, man. It was dope. I mean, not only Top Golf is one of my favorite spots, but it was just dope, man, just to kick it, man, and just be, amongst your peers. Of course, we talked about podcast stuff, but we just talked about life and just we had a good time, man. And I won. So, but I could kind of see the competitiveness coming out of Jay Boog. Jay Boog wasn't going to let me just win, so it was a really, really dope thing. And I think, one of the things that I've learned through podcasting is that a lot of us are very, very similar. We're very similar in some of our takes and the things that we think, some of the things we say. Actually, somehow, some of the things that are ways that our podcasts are formatted. So there's a lot of similarities. And I think that's a dope thing. And when you get a chance to meet people face to face and not behind a microphone, you really get to see who they are. And one of the things I like to say is I like it when the people that you meet are as genuine as who you thought they were before you met them. And Murph, Same dude. I mean, you can't miss Murph. Murph's 6'7", 6'8". So he's truly the big homie. But and me and Murph hung out quite a few times in Houston, man. And I just he's got a lot of stuff coming, and I'm gonna have him back on the podcast, and I'm gonna get back on his podcast, man. But Murph and I, man, we'll send each other a text, or we'll call each other. Hey, Murph called me for my birthday, and we chopped it up, and we spoke yesterday, as a matter of fact. And we may not talk every day, but when we do talk, we pick up right where we left off. And he had gone a little while without podcasting because he was doing some other things, coaching basketball and the whole nine. And what was interesting was I gave Murph I shot him a text, shot him a voice note on text. I was like, "Hey Murph, the man, the streets need you, man. We looking for you, And then right after that, you had a couple more episodes drop. But all in all, man, it was a dope experience. Again, I think it's dope when podcasters and friends can get together and have a good time, and that's exactly what it was. So I look forward to hanging out with them again. I look forward to playing Jay again in at Top Golf. I think Jay's been practicing. She won't tell me, but I think she's been practicing. So that was one thing that was dope. The second thing that was dope was in April. We did what we call the Bulldog Roundup. We met in Columbia, South Carolina. Now, for those of you listening or watching, thank you for watching on YouTube. As many of you know, or maybe you don't know, I attended, graduated, and played football at South Carolina State University. As you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, you see I got the hoodie on. You got my helmet right here. And our team is the Bulldogs. And we had what we call a Bulldog Roundup, where me and probably about 35 of my former teammates, we got together for a weekend and just had like food, drinks, just socializing, card playing, trash talking, reminiscing. We did all of that, man. And it's always good to see former teammates. And we took pictures, and like I said, and this went over a 3-day span, and it was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's just a reunion, and it's something we've been doing for the last 3 years. And we alternate cities, and this particular year was in Columbia. So I went down, stayed in my brother's crib, and it was dope seeing, because some of my teammates, man, I hadn't seen in a while. And like one of my best friends, my man Melly Mel, I hadn't seen Melly Mel, man. And me and Mel we talk on the phone, at least once a week, or we'll text at least once a week. But I hadn't seen him in about 5 years. So, man, to see him, dap him up and hug him, man, and talk trash to him, it warmed my heart, because again, I hadn't seen him. And those moments are special, man, because like, as a former athlete, I go back to homecoming. Everybody doesn't go back to homecoming. I go to games from time to time at South Carolina State. Everybody doesn't go to games from, like I do. So, you don't really get a chance to see everybody. And it's one thing to see somebody on a Zoom call or something like that, but it's another thing to see your Bulldog brother and, chop it up with them and hug them and love on them a little bit and let them see you, man. Because, life is precious, time is precious, and, we're not getting any younger. And you want to share those experiences, because I don't want to lose any of them. And unfortunately we've lost teammates along the way. So it was a really, really dope thing to do, man. And I'm looking forward to this year's Bulldog Roundup. Looking forward to seeing the dudes, man. We play cards. It's a lot of bravado, a lot of shit talking, a lot of a lot of reminiscing about what happened when we were at South Carolina State. So some of the stories are true. Some of the lies have become true. But it's a great experience, man. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I'm looking forward to this year again, linking up with my Bulldog brothers. But the Bulldog Roundup was definitely a dope thing that I did in 2023. In May of 2023, I got a chance to see my niece graduate from college. My niece Taylor, she's my oldest niece. She graduated from the College of Charleston. in Charleston, South Carolina. And there was a graduation party for her at my brother's house in Columbia. And so that was special to me because Taylor's my oldest niece. I have 3 nieces, Taylor, Mackenzie, and Peyton. Taylor's the only daughter from my brother. And then my sister, Kara, has 2 girls, Mackenzie and Peyton. And Taylor's the oldest, girl. And I've told this story on here before, but Taylor she's always been special, but she's really special because Taylor was born the day before Sherice and I got married. And so she was born in Columbia, and I didn't see my brother because she was born on a Friday. I got married on Saturday. My brother, literally didn't, and who was the best man at my wedding, I literally didn't see this dude until 15 minutes before the wedding started. And I remember, there was I wasn't sure if he was going to make it there on time. And somebody asked me, they said, well, where's Damon? I was like, he's on the way. And they was like, well, what if he's late? I was like, we ain't starting until he get here. I was like, there's no way I'm going out there. Not that I would be nervous or anything like that or wasn't going to get married, but I wasn't about to get married without my brother. So, but yeah, seeing Taylor graduate was special. She's the second of my mother's grandkids to graduate from college. The first was our oldest son, Dion. And so it's just a level of pride, man. Just a level of pride. She graduated with a degree in media broadcasting. And so Taylor's going to do well. I have no doubt in my mind. Very super, super proud of her. And we enjoyed that. We enjoyed that time as a family. I mean, the whole family was there. And it was really, really dope. So that was another dope thing that I did in 2023. The next thing that I did was back in June. It was June 7th, matter of fact. I remember that date because that particular day is the day of a star was born on that day, literally and figuratively. If you know your history, on that particular day, Prince Rogers Nelson was born on June 7th, and there was a Prince party. I was in Houston, and there was a Prince party at the spot downtown in Houston. And man, listen, I don't think that I ever posted. I don't think I ever posted the videos, but that Prince party was off the chain, man. It was this club venue, and you had to get like tickets in advance, and I think the tickets were free. I think, and but the club was plush. It was it was all purple. They had a stage. They had a band playing, and then they had one of Prince's proteges. She came up and sang. And it was a dope event. I was just really. What was interesting was I was like, damn, I should have I wish I had like some people with me, but it was just me in Houston. I think Murph was out of town, and I don't know what else was going on, but I was just like, it was one of those things that it would have been cool if I'd have had my people with me or even Sherice with me. But listen, if you're a fan like me or a fan like Britt, shout out to Britt. She's a huge matter of fact, I think I sent her the video. If you're a fan of Prince, like that was a spot that you wanted to be because all across the country in different cities, they were having these Prince parties, just celebrating his birthday, man. So next year, June 7th, if you get a chance, if there's a Prince party in your city, go. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. So that was another dope thing that I did in 2023. The next dope thing that I did in 2023 was also in June. I got a chance to attend the grand opening of Trillburgers. Now, if you're familiar with Trillburgers, it's a spot in Houston, co-owned by the legendary Bun B from the legendary rap group UGK. Rest in peace, Pimp C. And the first week that it opened, man, I got a chance to hit Trillburgers. And I'm not just first, let me be clear. I am a huge fan of UGK. I'm a huge fan of Bun B. So there was a level of excitement going there anyway. But I will say, and I went there several times, but this first time, that Trillburger, if you ever get a chance to get a Trillburger, and I'm a big burger fan, right? Five Guys, any burger spots that I probably been. I will say this unequivocally: the Trillburger is the best hamburger that I have ever eaten in my life, and I will go even further by saying they have a Trillburger and a vegan Trillburger. The vegan Trillburger might be better than the regular burger. That vegan burger, man, listen, I ate it and I immediately wanted another one. I was like, yo, you can't eat two burgers back because it's a smash burger. It's not a small, burger that you would get at Wendy's or something like that. Like, it's a huge burger. And you're gonna spend a few dollars. But I mean, for a Trillburger, man, I didn't mind spending a few dollars for a Trillburger, man. The fries were okay. Fries were decent. They're not bad. Fries aren't bad, but they were just, I mean, they're shoestring fries. So, but I think to be honest, I can't remember how much I spent. I think it was like for a burger, fries, and my drink. I think it was like plus tax it was like $20. But yeah, if you're in Houston, H-Town, do yourself a favor. Go to Trillburgers. Here's the crazy part about it, because like that particular week was the first week that it was open. Man, listen, there was a line. There was a line out the door, around the corner, down the street. Like, and these were people who were standing in 105-degree weather. Like, I remember one day I was like, all right, I'm gonna go on a Saturday. So I went on a Saturday and I got there when it opened. I got there maybe about 20 minutes before it opened, and there wasn't a line. So I waited probably about 10, 15 minutes once they opened for me to get my food. But the inside is really, really cool. They play hip hop music in there, the ambiance. They got pictures of Pimp C and UGK and obviously Bun B. But get yourself a Trill. If you're into hamburgers, get yourself a Trillburger. I promise you won't be disappointed. As soon as I touch down in Houston, I go get me a Trillburger. So that's not going to change. So, and even now it's expanded, because at the time they didn't even have a drive-through. Like, it was just, you had to go inside to get it. So you couldn't even, I mean, like, you go in and pick up your food and then leave. But I mean, like, a lot of celebrities go in there, and I'm not in there to see the celebrities, but the day that one day that I went in there, I looked at this guy and I was like, this guy looks familiar. And I looked at him, I had to look at him twice, and I realized it was West Side Gun from Griselda. And I was like, yeah, he's kind of short. But he was in there, in there to get a Trillburger, just like all of us, man. And it was cool, and the whole vibe was real. But unfortunately, the times that I've been, I have yet to see Bun B. I wanted to at least say what's up to him and tell him I was a fan, because I am. But Trillburgers, if you're in Houston, grab yourself a Trillburger. So that was another dope thing I did, being there, the grand opening of Trillburgers. In July, got a chance to see up close and personal the one and only Coco Gauff, the great tennis player. As many of you know, maybe you don't know, my daughter Skylar plays tennis. And she's been playing tennis for probably about the last 4 years, maybe. And her tennis group got some tickets to the Atlanta Open. And the Atlanta Open was a thing that they were having at the tennis center downtown in Midtown in Atlanta. And so Skylar and I went down with some of her teammates and got a chance to see Coco Gauff play a exhibition match. And when I tell you, like, I've been to tennis matches before, but just the vibe of Coco being there, and I think really for Skylar, it was huge because, Coco Gauff is a young Black woman, and just like Serena Williams and Venus Williams, I think when little girls see women like that playing tennis and doing their thing at that level, it gives them inspiration. Just like we were inspired to see, Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and Bubba Chuck and Kobe do their thing on the basketball court. I know how big this was for Skylar, so it was a lot of fun for me. She enjoyed it. I mean, like she was in heaven with her friends and just having a good time. And it was hot. It was hot. I mean, because again, it's June, but or July. Um, but it was a lot of fun, and I think what was interesting was we got a chance to see Coco as she kind of warmed up and tuned up for the U.S. Open, which I think she won the U.S. Open if I'm not mistaken. But really, really dope. So if you get a chance, yeah, definitely see Coco Gauff do her thing on the tennis court. So that was another dope thing that I did in 2023. In August of 2023, got a chance to be involved with a surprise birthday party for my man Mo. If you follow the podcast, Mo and I, we played together at South Carolina State. We took classes together at the same major. We graduated together, came in together as freshmen. One of my best friends, he's Dion's godfather, and got a chance to surprise him for his 50th. So what happened was, his wife Tara, she told us like, "Hey, well, we're gonna throw a surprise party for him. We're gonna be at this place, and he doesn't know. It's just gonna be a couple of people coming over or whatever like that." But we didn't tell him that we were coming in town. And so, long story short, they live in Charlotte, and so we drove up from Atlanta, and we managed to get to their house just as they were leaving. But he didn't see me, so we went in his house, got settled, put the stuff in the house, and then we drove to the spot. So the whole time that we're going to this spot, he's at this spot, and we're communicating with Tara. And again, he knows that a couple of people coming over for some drinks, but he didn't think it was anything big. And I asked him, I was like, "Mo, are you throwing a party?" He's like, "Nah, man, I ain't doing no party. We just gonna chill, whatever." It's like, "All right, bet." And so, anyways, we get to Charlotte, and he was sitting outside, and we walked past the area. We came in from like a different area, and we walked past them, but he didn't see me again. And so he was sitting outside, and he had his back turned to me. And I walked up. No, he got up, and he was dapping somebody else up, and his back was to me the whole time. And he turned around, and when he saw me, man, he took off. He took off running. And then we dabbed and hugged, man. He was happy to see me. He had no idea. But it was good. The look on his face was priceless, man. I mean, anytime I could surprise my dog, we wanted to be there for his 50th, man. So it was good, and we had a good time at the party, and it was we had drinks, and then we got up the next morning, had brunch before we went back to Atlanta. So it was a real good weekend, and seeing, because I turned 50 in 2022. Seeing a lot of my friends, my cousins, turn 50 in 2023 was really, really, really dope for me. Another thing that I did that was dope in 2023, in September, more specifically September 23rd, we hit 23 years of marriage. Sherice and I hit 23 years of marriage. So that was a dope thing that we did. We ended up going out to dinner, and I think the thing that I enjoyed about, well, at least one of the things I enjoyed about our anniversary was we sat and talked, and I think there's a lot of times at least for me, I see certain things, or I look at her, and I'm like never in a million years would I have imagined that we would have carved out this life that we have for each other and for our kids. We met in college and started dating there. So we've been together. It's funny because when people ask me like, "Yo, how long y'all been together?" My answer is always forever, because that's how it feels. Really feel like we've been together forever. But like, I think one of the things that's impressive is like sometimes, and I catch myself doing this from time to time, like she'll be talking and I'll be looking at her, and that feeling of love comes all over you. And then also, like when we're, especially when we have our kids, especially when the oldest kids are at home, because they're in college, I look at her and then I look at them and I'm like, when we were younger and we would talk about what our future looked like, I would have never guessed this. I would have never guessed, 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl, and 23 years of marriage, and it's been overwhelming. And I mean, like, there's been, obviously, if you're married, you're gonna have bumps and bruises. I mean, Lord knows we got enough of them. But at the end of the day, I think even through the bad times, you look over and you see somebody that's gonna ride with you no matter what. And I think that's important. And I think that's really just who we are and who we have grown into be. And and we're still learning each other. I know I'll be the first to admit. I mean, there are days where I probably get on her last nerve, and there are days when she gets on my last nerves. But ultimately, we're great friends. So I think our friendship kind of perseveres through those rougher times, as husband and wife. But yeah, that was another dope thing that I did in 2023. We hit 23 years of marriage, and it doesn't feel like it. And people always say, "Well, what would you tell me? What would you tell somebody? Your success or longevity. How do you compare it? How do you prepare yourself for marriage?" And I'm like, it sounds cliche, but you really got to take it one day at a time. I mean, like, you look forward to things, you communicate, and you just take it one day at a time. I mean, it sounds simple, but I mean, that's all because there's nothing that I can tell you. And I want to repeat this. There's nothing that I can tell you that can prepare you for marriage. Absolutely nothing. It's almost like sitting in the stands and I'm telling you how to play the game. I could tell you from the stands all day, but when you're on that field, it's a different ball game. But yeah, it was really, really dope hitting 23 years, and we're already off to year 24. So it's been a blessing, and I don't take that lightly at all. Another dope thing that I did in 2023. In October of 2023, went back to my hometown, Florence, South Carolina. Got a chance to experience homecoming at Wilson High School. Just to give you a synopsis, Wilson High School is a predominantly black high school, but the high school has been in existence for, I think, 140 something years. It's older than a lot of black colleges. It's been around that long, and it's been a school that not only did I attend, but my mother, my aunts, my uncles, almost everybody in my family, obviously my brother, cousins, even to the point now where my niece is about to graduate this school year from Wilson, my niece Mackenzie. So it's but this one was special because homecoming is always dope, but this time it was more of a reunion. And what I mean by that is my particular class, the class of 1991, we got together probably in a way that we have not been together ever, to put it lightly. So me and a couple of the guys that I played ball with, we call ourselves the Varsity Club, or the VCs. We helped sponsor some of the events, and we gave out a scholarship to a kid at Wilson. It was just a beautiful experience. Our tailgate was crazy. The food was dope. We had a DJ, we had music, we had TVs, it was epic, to put it lightly. I thoroughly enjoyed homecoming. I enjoyed spending time with my class. I'll be honest, and I used to tell people all the time, like, yeah, the class of 91, we're going to get it together at some point. And we never got it together. And it's not because, I don't think it's because people dislike each other. I think it's just, even back when we were in school, our class was just very much about, kind of like most classes, individualistic and cliquish. And, it wasn't the part where my clique don't get along with this clique, or the VCs don't get along with this crew, or whatever like that. But it's just like, we were just different. And I think over time, we're learning that we have way more in common than we did, when we were in high school. And maybe we had maybe we had a lot in common. We just didn't know it because we didn't invest that kind of time in each other. And that's kind of weird to say, because these are people that, honestly, I went to school with from 7th, 8th, all the way through high school. So 6 years, at least for some longer than that. But it was dope. It was really, really dope, man. And I'm so looking forward to seeing my class. And I think we got a lot closer. We probably had about, of our class, probably about 50 people participate, which was really dope. I thought it was dope, and I thought it's a really good building block for the years to come. So we've already got the ball rolling for homecoming this year and what we're going to do. So look out for it. If you're in Florence, I don't know when the date is for homecoming, but if you're in Florence, definitely come by and check out the class of 91. You don't need to go see nobody else. Just class of 91. That's it. But yeah, that was something dope. Also in October. Well, actually, it was November. No. I take that back. October. If you're following the podcast, you know this one already. Another dope thing I did in 2023, I hit 500 episodes here on the 12 Kyle podcast. Round of applause. Yeah, that was special. I'm not even gonna hold you. That was special because you, like I said on the episode, like nobody starts a podcast saying I'm gonna do 500 episodes. It doesn't work like that. Nobody, you couldn't even program yourself to even think that far. And the reason being is because there's like 7 million podcasts, right? And then there's the fact that most podcasts just don't last. I mean, like the average podcast lasts about 10 episodes, if that, because people, for whatever reason, get into it and then they quit, and so I didn't set out to do anything like that. I wanted to make something dope. And I think that that's what this podcast has been. Well, I ain't gonna say I think. I know that, modestly speaking, this has been a dope ass podcast. You know it because you're listening and you're watching. But yeah, that was really dope. That was really dope, and I was really, really proud, not just of myself, but proud of those who contributed to the podcast. Those like my family, my wife, and my kids who allow me to, have the time to carve out of our schedules, out of my schedule to do it. And then me proud of myself just for the dedication of it, because it's not easy, and it's it's hard when I don't want to say it's hard, but it's not as easy when you're flying solo. Yeah, I call the shots, but let's say I want to get Mo on the podcast, and Mo gotta go work or something, or he's out of town or out of the country. It's not always convenient. But the one thing I will say that has been, and I mentioned this on the podcast as well, the one thing that I think has been a blessing is that, like, I'm never out of content. I told Baylor, shout out to BTG, who just turned 41. I told Baylor earlier this year that, like, when I sat down and started writing out the stuff that I wanted to talk about, I had over 100 things that I wanted to talk about, 100 different episodes. And so to hit 500 episodes was really a blessing. So I knew that I was going to hit 500. I'm sure if I look at it, I'll probably hit 600 this year, in 2024. It's not something I'm gunning for, but I'm committed to this podcast through 2024. I'm contractually obligated through 2024. After that, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to keep doing it until I get tired of doing it, or until I stop having things to talk about. But that's not going to happen for the foreseeable future. So we're all good. The next dope thing that I did in 2024 was obviously attend homecoming for SC State. And I talked about that on the homecoming season episode. That was really dope, man. I mentioned, got a chance to link up with the homie Danny Foxworth, another fellow podcaster who came down, man. Got a chance to chop it up with him before the game. And like I said, my only regret was that we didn't hang out. We could have hung out at the game, because it didn't dawn on me until after we split up that he came solo. But game was dope, man. I mean, we won. We beat Howard, which is odd because Howard didn't lose to anybody else in the conference, so we were the only team to beat them. But that was it was dope. I mean, we had really good weather. Homecoming is always a dope time, man. Got a chance to see some people I hadn't seen in a while. Always good to see my man. Like I saw Psycho. Yes, his name is Psycho. That's a story for another day. Maybe I should. Maybe I should get. I should get Psycho on the podcast, right? Yeah, I should get him on. Yeah, Psycho would have you cracking up. Got a chance to see my whole girl. Matter of fact, Crystal, if you're listening, if you're watching, I'm going to call you. We can't just see each other homecoming every year and don't talk until the next homecoming. But yeah, it was dope. It was dope seeing. It was a lot of people at homecoming, man, and it was so many people, man. Like I just really there's a lot of people who I didn't know they were there until after I left. Like I saw pictures on Facebook and Instagram. I was like, oh shit, she was there. Oh shit, he was there. And like I didn't know. And it's because like it was just that many people. Homecoming was off the chain. Thoroughly enjoyed it. The next dope thing that I did in 2023, in November, got a chance to meet up with my boy Sean. Sean, and I posted a picture of us on Instagram and Facebook. Sean is one of my friends that and Sean mentioned it when we met up for brunch. And what was interesting was Sean said, he said, man, we haven't seen each other in 37 years. And I was like, for real? Because I the last time I saw Sean, okay, let me give you some backstory. So Sean and I went to elementary school together. We went to McLaurin Elementary together, right? One of my best friends in elementary school. Super smart. And then when we left elementary school, obviously we went to middle school. Well, Sean wasn't zoned to go to the same middle school that I did. So we went to two separate middle schools. So the last time that I saw Sean, he and I we talked on the phone and coordinated where he was going to Carowinds, which is like this huge amusement park in Charlotte. It's actually on the borderline between it's on the border of Charlotte and North Carolina. North Carolina and South Carolina, basically Charlotte. And so his mom and dad took me with him to Carowinds, and we spent the day at Carowinds and had a ball, and they came back that day and they dropped me off. And I had not seen Sean since, because we didn't see each other in high school. I went to Wilson, Sean went to West Florence, and we talked on the phone, but we didn't see each other. And then we went off to college, and I went to South Carolina State. Sean went off to college, and so like, and then after that, by the time we went to college, I don't think we talked at all in college. At least I can't remember. And so we lost contact. And I remember, my uncle hit me up one day, and he was like, "Hey," he said, "I got this email from this guy who said he went to school with you." And I was like, "Oh yeah." He was like, "Yeah." He said, the email, but he basically said, "Hey, Mr. Carson, I'm a fan of yours, big Giants fan. I went to elementary school with your nephew Kyle, and I'm trying to get in contact with him. Can you give me his information?" And so he gave him my information. And what's interesting was Sean ended up hitting me up on Facebook. And at the time, I literally was about to get off of Facebook. I was like, I'm done with Facebook. I'm tired of the foolishness. Y'all know how Facebook do, man. Facebook can be annoying at times. And this was one of the times I was really about to get off of Facebook for good. And Sean hit me up, and I was like, man. And so, we exchanged numbers and stuff like that. So we would communicate on Facebook and Twitter. And he hit me up a couple of months prior to, and he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna be in the city," and blah blah blah. He's like, he's going to a concert, and I was like, "Okay, that's what's up." So then we met up at brunch, and man, it was just dope seeing it, man. We ate, talked, bugged out, man, and just kind of caught up with each other. I mean, it was one of those things like you just really don't know how much time has passed, but even though we hadn't seen each other, like I said, we communicate on Facebook and Twitter, but it was really, really dope to see him. And he lives in Charleston. He's married with 2 kids, 2 girls, and it's a bug out, man. You just don't. I remember Like I literally remember hanging out with him in second grade. Like you don't go that far back with a lot of people, and to see him and see him be successful and everything, and I'm sure for him, same thing for me. Like it's just a blessing, man. And like I said, I don't take those things lightly. But yeah, that was one dope thing that I did in 2023 was seeing my boy Sean live and in person, and I promise you, and we said it, we laughed about it. It won't be another 37 years when we don't see each other again. So that was cool. And last but not least, last thing that I did that was dope in 2023 was I turned 51, December 9th. I turned 51 years old. And birthdays are always interesting for me because one, my birthday is 2 weeks before Christmas, right? So growing up, I was always taught I guess the best way I can describe it is like my birthday is a big deal to me. It doesn't necessarily have to be a big deal to you. It doesn't have to necessarily have to be a big deal to you, but it's a big deal to me. So you always kind of taught like to enjoy the day, appreciate the day, and like most years, all I wanted was two things: a birthday cake and a card. That's it. And so people would be like, "Well, KD, what do you want?" I was like, "Man, give me a cake and a card." And I mentioned before on previous podcasts, like I never. It took me a while for people. It took me a while for me to get comfortable with people making a fuss over my birthday. Even as I became an adult, even as I became a husband and a father, having my family celebrate my birthday was something that was just kind of uncomfortable for a while. And then as I got older, when I got into my 30s, I was like, okay, like, look, dog, you gotta you gotta come up off this because, you know, when you start seeing people check out of here, like you just really start appreciating birthdays even more. Um, but yeah, the 51st birthday, man, was cool, man. I got up, uh went to Top Golf, which is something I've done the last couple of years, going to Top. Now, here's the funny thing. I go to Top Golf by myself. I've learned to do things on my birthday by myself, and I actually appreciate it, to be honest. Because it's time for me to kind of self-reflect, and you reflect on the year and what's happened over the previous year, and going forward, like maybe what you want to do in the year to come. And so I did a couple hours at Top Golf. Of course, I got phone calls, text messages, um, messages on social media, and I appreciate everybody. And I tried my best to answer as much as I could, because that can be overwhelming too. Because now all of a sudden you got, you know, they make the announcement on Facebook, and now you've got 300 people wishing you happy birthday. And so went to Top Golf, came back to the crib, chill for a little bit. Of course, I was off because I don't plan to work on my birthday ever again. And it's been a while. It's been a couple of years since I've actually worked on my birthday. And then that night, Sherice and I went to dinner, and we ended up. Well, we had reservations for this place. I'm not even gonna name the place, but the service was kind of janky when we got in there, and they weren't really sure where they were sitting people, and it just really the vibe in there threw me off. Like I'm a big person on vibes. The vibe threw me off. The music was really, really loud. And I don't want to, and that's something that happens a lot here in Atlanta. I wouldn't say a lot, but some places you can go and they'll have the music turned up like it's a club. And like, I don't want to be in a restaurant. I remember one time Sherice and I went to dinner with the kids to this place, and the food was good, but like I literally was hoarse after we left because I'm yelling across the table to my kids, just trying to talk to them. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, dog. I'm not. This ain't gonna happen. So she kind of felt bad because she picked the place and neither one of us had been before. And I was like, I could kind of tell, and that's where the friendship comes in because I could kind of. She had this look on her face like, I ain't really feeling this shit, but it's his birthday, and I don't want to mess it up. But in my mind, I was kind of thinking what she was feeling, or at least what I could see on her face. So I was like, let's leave. She's like, what you mean? I was like, let's go. I was like, I'm not feeling this. And she was like, "You sure?" I was like, "Yeah." And it's funny because just as we were walking out the door, they called our name for us to sit down. And I was like, "Nah, let's we can go across the street to Ocean Air." And we went across the street to Ocean Air, and I mean, like, this is a Saturday night, so in my mind, I'm thinking, "Oh man, Ocean Air on a Saturday night. I don't have reservations because I always and let me be clear, I love the Ocean Air. That is one of my I ain't gonna say it's my favorite restaurant in Atlanta." And what's interesting is when we go to Ocean Air, like, man, I always get the same thing. Like always get a steak. I can't think, and they have great seafood, but I can't think of it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the first time I went, maybe the second time I went, maybe I got seafood, but other than that, it's a steak at Ocean Air. So nonetheless, so we go across the street, and I'm like, we're probably gonna have a little wait, but it's okay. And she was like, "Well, I'm sorry." I was like, "Don't worry about it." She was apologetic. I was like, "Don't worry about it." I said, "We good." Man, we walk in Ocean Air, and there's no wait. It's like, "Oh, well, we can seat you right now." Blah blah blah. So we sit down, ate, had a great time. There wasn't the music is soft in Ocean Air, so you can you don't have to worry about being hoarse. But no, it was dope. It was dope, and it closed out a great evening. We had a great conversation, a lot of laughs, a few drinks, and wrapped up the night. And that was 51, and it was cool, man. It was matter of fact, we didn't even wrap up then. We had to go pick up the kids, and so we went to one of our friends' houses, and we ended up kind of kicking it over there for a little while. So it was really really a dope night, man. A dope day, really, to turn 51, but more than anything else, a blessing. And that's it. In conclusion, 2023 was a very interesting year. It wasn't without its ups and downs. Unfortunately, I lost an aunt to cancer. My dad's sister, and my dad, unfortunately, is the only of my grandmother's kids. He's the only surviving child now. She had 5 kids. He's the only surviving one now, with my aunt passing away. I dealt all year with sinus issues. I don't know. Maybe you can hear it. Maybe you can't hear it. But like even now, I'm a little stopped up. I never had any type of sinus issues until I turned 50. And my doctor says, "Hey, this is what it is. You're 50 now." So seasonal allergies, something I never had issues with, and that's what I'm dealing with now. So if I sound a little nasally, that's what it is. But most people can't pick up on it. But I mean, if I'll put it like this: if you heard me 2 years ago and you listen to an episode from 2 years ago, and you listen to an episode, I don't know, I don't even want to say 2 years ago. If you listen to an episode from the summer of 22 and you listen to an episode now, this episode, I sound different. I sound more nasally or whatever like that, but it's just sinus. I mean, there's not really much I could do about it. I mean, of course I take Zyrtec and stuff like that, but I'm not gonna be the old dude on high blood pressure pills and all that stuff like that. Still working out, and I'm gonna step up my workouts even more. But I enjoy going to the gym and getting on the bike, and I enjoy working out. I will say this much: I don't necessarily want to work out every day, but I do, and it's days where I'm like, I don't feel like doing this shit today. But I get up, I get dressed, I go jump in the car, and I get to the gym and I work out before I go to work. So, and I feel, and it's a privilege too, because I know everybody, given the fact that I work from home, that makes a difference. But everybody can't do that. So I understand that, and it's definitely a privilege that I don't take lightly. But 2023 was a cool year. It like I said, it went by fast. I think that's the scary part. Like it went by so fast. I remember where I was when the year came in. Sherice and I were at a New Year's Eve party, and watching watching Georgia beat Ohio State in the national championship game. As the ball dropped, literally. And to be back at that spot and then figuring out like how the year has gone by so fast is crazy. I mean, like I really can't put my finger on how quickly this year moved. But, that's what they say happens as time moves on, and I'm okay with that. I mean, it's okay to see these days. And I tell people all the time, it's better to be seen than to be viewed. If you dig what I'm saying. But like I said, 2023 was a dope year. Did a lot of dope things, and definitely looking forward to 2024, doing doper things in 2024. God willing, in 2024 we'll have another graduate, so that's something to look forward to. And I think more than anything else, one thing that I've done and learned over these years is to try to constantly have something to look forward to. I think that makes life a little bit more sweeter. When you have something to look forward to, it makes the days kind of, add up or whatever. And the biggest thing I think that I took from 23 is make every day count. Just make every day count. Because as long as you're making them count, you're here. And that's what's important. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. Thank you for checking out this edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I will say this much. I like the comments. I don't ask people to comment, but like if you're on Spotify, there's a section where you can actually leave your comments about the show. Gotten some good feedback. I actually had somebody tell me that the one episode was trash, and the episode wasn't trash, but my audio, when we did when I did the joint with Baylor and Dolomite on the Rise and Fall of Death Row, my audio was messed up. So I wanted to I think the episode came out okay, but it was just my audio. But anyway, I appreciate those comments. I appreciate it, and trust me, the audio has been fixed, as you can hear. And so I stopped using the audio piece that I was using. So going forward, there's going to be some changes with this podcast. I'll be honest. You'll probably see more videos. You'll see clips more. You'll probably see less promotion. So it'll be very important that people subscribe. I'm not going to be posting. I'll post it, on social media the day that it drops. But you won't have me posting, 5, 6, 7 different times on Twitter. I'm going to stop doing that because, you should be subscribing by now. But other than that, there'll be subtle things like definitely in 2024, I will still review albums, but I won't be reviewing the anniversary album. I'm not going to wait until an album turns 20 years old for me to review it. So if the Wingtip rapper comes out with his new album and I want to review it, then I'm going to review it, regardless of whether or not it's 5 years old or 25 years old. Shout out to the Wingtip rapper. But so there'll be subtle differences, subtle changes that you may or may not notice. I will definitely have on more guests. Got a couple of series that I'm super, super excited about for 2024. One will be the HBCU series, where I bring on alums from HBCUs and they come on and talk about how and why they chose their schools. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. And this time, they won't be fellow podcasters. They will be people, regular civilians, if you will. But yeah, a lot of different concepts, a lot of different ideas. You'll see a lot of bonus content this year on Sundays. And you'll still see a lot of guests. So for the most part, the show won't change, but there'll be subtle changes going forward. And if there are more changes, I will let you know. So like I said, make sure that you like, subscribe, pass the word, tell a friend to tell a friend. If you feel so inclined, shoot us some money. We're always open to donations on Cash App, $TWELVEKYLE. Hit me up on the socials. Follow me on the socials at 12 Kyle and across the board, and 12 Kyle Podcast as well. Follow us on TikTok as well, 12 Kyle Podcast. So that's going to do it for me. This has been my wrap up. 12 dope things that I did in 2023. I think I gave you 12. If I didn't, sue me. 12 dope things that I did in 2023. As I mentioned earlier, 2023, no matter how you viewed the year, you got a chance to see it. So that's a blessing in and of itself. Let's all be blessed in 2024. I hope that 2024 is both safe and prosperous for you, your mama, and your whole damn crew. That's going to do it for me. I am your boy 12 Kyle. I'll catch you guys next time. 5 G's. Chill.